Yeah, well, welcome to the wreck. Nathan McCreary and Jess Sinclair, as we are, we are excited and getting ready for the 2026 softball season for Georgia Tech. Jess and I get a chance to call some of those games on the ACC network. And, last year, Jess, we talked about doing a preview show. We've seen some other teams around the country do a preview show. And we just thought it would be a good thing for fans that like softball to hear from the head coach, to hear from us, and to talk a little softball here preseason. So thank you so much for taking the time on this wintry, icy, schools canceled day. And I know that benefits both of us. Just first of all, how the heck are you? Are you safe? Are you have ice out there, or what's going on with your situation?
I mean, there's no ice on the road over here, but I'm not complaining with the day off. So, I'm safe. I'm warm. Didn't lose power. How about you on that side?
Yeah, no, I'm in Ackworth, Georgia, and I think the rain stopped about 5 p.m. yesterday, and it was just enough for it to dry off, and it looks great. Now, Nashville, Tennessee, and those in the north look like they really got hit. So thoughts and prayers out to those guys, and obviously another system's coming in, so we'll just keep our fingers crossed. And by the way, snow is in the forecast for February 5th, which is the first game for Georgia Tech.
No.
it's always fun. Well, quickly, you played at Georgia Tech. What did the season always start early February and have those ice cold games?
It has started earlier and earlier, honestly. We would play in California or Florida really to start, and the Jackets are going to Gainesville in the second week of the season, but we didn't play in Atlanta as early as they're playing in Atlanta, so things have moved up, and it's going to be chilly out there. The elements are going to be tough.
It always seems like you get a couple games where spring fever gets you, and you're just like, I can't. And then a cold spell comes in, and it really just screws everything up. But So listen, we're going to be joined by Coach Aileen Morales here shortly, and hopefully have some players to talk about the 2026 season. But let's take a look back at the 2025 season. Georgia Tech finished the season 27-24, 10-11 in the ACC, by the way, which brought 9 teams, a record to the NCAA Division I softball championship. They were picked to finish 8th. They did finish 8th there in the ACC. They were having to replace players like Mallory Black and tons of offense. They are going to return 11 players that are going to be back for this 2026 season. But I thought last year you brought in a couple transfers that were impactful for Georgia Tech. They did a great job on kind of picking up and kind of being a different looking Georgia Tech kind of offense. Just kind of your quick thoughts on 2025.
Yeah, like you said, they had really big shoes to fill from the 2024 season. They brought in Addison Leschber and Eliana Gottlieb that added some power, some pop to the lineup, but they didn't quite fill the shoes in the same way that we saw that power in 2024. But they were able to be a little bit more of a complete lineup. And I think there's still some places that they're growing, and we'll see this year how they fill in the blanks there and move forward into the improvement they can have in their lineup.
Names like Mallory Black and Jen Saleo were gone from this offense. Kind of a whole new interior on the infield. Jen Saleo replaced by Emma Simon, a freshman, came in. Lots of respect for her coming in. They had her on the top 100 list for recruits. She came in, and I thought she had a little slow start, but as the season progressed, you can kind of see the talent's there. The offense picked up. She's definitely dangerous there on the infield. And then Grayson Tucker came in at third base, having to replace Mallory Black. And we mentioned her 3 times already, Mallory, because of what she did that season. Grayson Tucker came in and didn't miss a beat. She was awesome. Let's take a talk about the infield real quick. Of Addison Leschber over there at first base. Grace Conley got some starts. Great to see her back on the field. She is a graduating senior, so she's not with the team anymore. You've got Emma Simon and Grayson Tucker. Just talk about that infield from 2025 and how you thought it came together.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, with Emma Simon really coming into some big shoes to fill, but she is a baller on the field. She works hard. She's really smart on the infield, and I think that's a type of player that Coach Morales does a really good job with molding quickly, her being an infielder. back in her playing days. So that's kind of her bread and butter. And you really saw Emma step into that and just absorb all that knowledge really quickly. And like you said, she had a slower start. She didn't have the best season at the plate. I think that freshman year is always tough to get used to the pitching that you're going to see at the level in the ACC and the other opponents that Georgia Tech faced last year. But, as far as the infield went, she really kind of stepped up as a very young player. And then Grayson Tucker, just a phenomenal bat in the lineup, and a power bat for the Jackets, and another leader on the field as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the infield looks from last year to this year, and if there's a lot of switch up or what that looks like. Because like you said, really the only one leaving is Grace Conley, and she was graduating. So it could look different. It could look the same. We'll see.
And then you had behind the plate was Reese Hunter, who, she had 7 home runs in the 2024 campaign. She came out defensively amazing. Great arm throwing down to second. She struggled there behind the plate. You don't expect that to happen again, but it was we watched Reese, grow up here on Georgia Tech's campus, and it was hard to watch her because you could just feel the struggles offensively, but what a player she is and what a personality she brings to the team.
Oh yeah, she's a great leader back there. I think she's always has a smile on her face whenever we see her. Whenever she's caught on camera, she's smiling. So you assume that she's got that type of bubble personality and just somebody that the team can look to. Like you said, she would like to do better at the plate this year, and hopefully that's something that she can improve on. But behind the plate, just a great leader, great arm, all around very defensively solid back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to the outfield, we're going to go ahead and bring in Coach Aileen Morales to the show. And, Coach, we're just kind of talking about that 2025 season and how it kind of came off. We've gone through the infield, and Emma Simon stepping into the shoes of Jen Saleo, and Grayson Tucker stepping in the shoes of Mallory Black. Thank you so much for taking the time as we're just ahead of this 2026 season. Just your thoughts on the 2025 season before we start looking forward.
Yeah, obviously we're excited about making it to a regional, right? And that team had, I think, 3 top 25 wins or something like that. Again, I don't have it all off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I think that obviously though going to a regional and going 0-2 was not the expectation either. And so I think really proud of what that team did with a lot of youth, and then setting the stage to build something even more special moving into this year. So yeah, I think unfortunately for me at this point, I don't talk a ton about 2025.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
But I understand the segue.
Well, we are looking forward to 2026, and let's kind of start with, in the off season, what does it look like for a head coach and the transfer portal, and you start looking at your team and who's graduating and players you've already contacted and the rules and all that good stuff. What does it look like for you going into an off season, preparing for the following season almost as soon as the final game plays?
Yeah, I think the nature of college athletics now, right? Doesn't really feel like there's much of an off season. I think that, once your season ends in 2025, you're like, okay, what do we have on the roster? What are immediate needs? Do we have those immediate needs filled with returners or with incoming classes? And, obviously with the portal, can we get experience in those areas? And so, I think a lot of the summer is spent retooling the roster, finding, what is available, because what you need and what is available is not always the same thing as well. And then pursuing that and finding players that fit not just the softball side of it, but what Georgia Tech is and what we need for our program as a student athlete. So spent a lot of time pursuing arms with experience because we were graduating out Soph and Kins, right? And they threw Soph through a ton of load last year, as well as Kinsey. And so it was very important. It was imperative to get pitchers with experience throwing at this level. And so both Madeline Johnson from James Madison and Kinley Hillary from Kennesaw, who threw a good bit of innings. I mean, Kinley's thrown 3 years worth of innings at this point at the collegiate level. And so that was a top priority, right? And then trying to, again, get a little bit more experience in the outfield and just where we could find depth and be more athletic, truly.
Coach, it seems like, and Jess, you jump in here whenever you have a question, but it seems like in softball, you do find teams, you want to have depth in that bullpen, but you do find teams that have 1 or 2 really quality starters and then kind of fill in around them. You were losing your top two pitchers. I mean, and you got Makayla Coffield coming back, but it's going to be a new look bullpen. How did you approach those transfer names and arms to trying to bring them in and know what you really want to build around?
Well, one, I think Erin does a phenomenal job with her bullpen and with the staff, and so it's important that we had different looks, right? We don't all throw the same thing, because what's the point of a staff if we all do the same thing? We have the same pitch movements, pitch profiles, and so that was very important. One, and yeah, I think like it's just about how can you piece together a lot of different looks. So yeah, we have Mac from the left side, which is great, but then can we get some righties who throw up, some down, some change of speed? And so that's kind of a big piece of it. And then I think you said the surrounding players as well, or were we just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, just as far as the depth in the bullpen, you have, like you said, you have to have that versatility.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ACC is tough. I mean, it was tough when I played, but it's even tougher now, right? There's so many teams, and you're talking about top 25 programs. There's no easy games. There's no off series. Anybody can beat anybody, and I think that's great. That's great for our sport, and that prepares our teams for regional play and for postseason play, because you feel like every weekend could be a 3-game series. It could be a super regional feel, right? And so that's great preparation for us. But one arm isn't just going to mow through somebody on a Friday and then a Sunday. It's just there's too much. The athletes are too good. The coaching is too good. The adjustments are there. And so finding ways to reinvent ourselves, finding ways to not give other teams as many looks at our arms, and that requires a staff, and there's a lot that goes into that too from a prep standpoint, right? If you have to prep for 5 arms, that's different than prepping for 2 arms, right? And so I think there's a lot of those pieces and matchups that matter now in our game, because people can score a lot of runs, and they can score a lot of runs in one inning, and so it's just the nature of the way the game is developed.
And Coach, 2024, you lose a ton of offense, right? I mean, the team looked completely different in 2025. You do lose Grace Conley, who had a fantastic season last year with 10 doubles and 3 home runs, 28 RBIs. But you return Grayson Tucker and Paige Vukadinovich and Addison Leschber. Those bats are really carried you last year. How different does 2026 coming feel from when 2024 ended and you really had to replace a lot of that offense?
Yeah, I think when we kind of look back and forth to both of those seasons, I think coming into 2024, no one really expected us to hit the way we hit. And so that was kind of a fun thing. And then the next year it was like, oh, you guys are losing all this offense. It's like, well, we had it for 1 year. We didn't always have that. We didn't. So I think, right, you're always evolving based on your roster, and you're hoping, and if the systems are correct, which I feel like they very much are. So hoping is not the right word, but when you have them another year in your system, they continue to develop, and those numbers continue to increase. I think Alyssa Willer is a good example as a freshman, just coming in and doing phenomenal within our systems, had good numbers, but then working within our offensive system, Devin's system, and with Devin and Megan had really just had a phenomenal freshman year. Tuck prior to that, before her surgeries, and so I think last year, maybe not the same numbers, obviously, as 2024, but we weren't necessarily expecting that with the amount of experience that we had. When you compare those two rosters, a lot of that production was seniors in 2024. And so we had to rely a ton on underclassmen last year. And so that experience is integral. It is very important for their development moving into this year, where we would assume and we would, project out better power numbers based on just the innings and the experience that they've got at this level. So, I think, your upperclassmen should be hitting for power and more power than your underclassmen. And that should be a testament to the systems we put in place that they continue to grow and develop each year.
Well, speaking of developing, Grayson Tucker stepped in last year at third base, and we saw her really just take off and never really stop. Talk about her development from last year, what areas you saw her grow in, and what can we expect from her in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, Tuck's a tough bat, right? She came off of a freshman year and then was redshirted because of injury. And so, this year, more people had her circled because of the numbers she had put up in such a short sample size the year prior. And so she's got to reinvent herself a little bit because the scout's out, and she knows that. And so she's had to kind of really work through the fall on, opening up another zone of the plate, being able to maybe hit in counts that she hasn't been comfortable in the past. And so, she's tough, right? You got to motivate her. You got to find ways to motivate her to swing through some of those failures at time, which isn't always fun. But I mean, the best in the game are still failing a ton, right? And so you got to remind them that and give them that perspective. Because right when you're in there and you're grinding and maybe you're not having the results you want in practices and scrimmages, it's easy to be like, oh, this isn't working. And I think, for her, she's consistently showed up and continued to work through some adjustments with her swing. And we're excited about that because she's a big part of our success, and we'll be successful if she's hitting well in the middle of our lineup.
On the other side is Addison Leschber, who you brought in. I thought she did a great job last year. What did you see out of her, and what development did you? Because she didn't play all that much in Minnesota, I don't think. What did you see from her, and how did she fit into this team, gel, and what can we expect from her in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, Addie's just a natural leader. She's a great just person in the clubhouse. Does a phenomenal job of like relating to her teammates. And so I think, a lot of people just feel calm and comfortable around her, right? And then she's got great work ethic, just comes in, works on her swing with Devin or Megan whenever they have time. And I think she has lofty goals. She wants to be one of the best. And so that work ethic kind of spreads to the rest of the team. And, when you bring others with you, you make your team better. And so Addie's always been like one of the things when we were talking with her in a transfer portal. She's like, I want to be an all conference player. Like I want to do all these things, right? I want to accomplish this. Obviously the team being successful is her number one priority, but she has goals for herself. And, that was part of why she left where she was and wanted a new start somewhere. And thankfully she chose us, and, we had the right environment for her to excel. But, she had to fail through a lot too. Like there was times early in the season, and, we were kind of talking about this as a team. There's times early in the season where she didn't have the outcome she wanted, but those were preparing her for the back end of the season where she came up in big moments. I mean, and hit, game tying home runs, or I think it was at the regional, a tying home run to send us to extras, right? And so I think perspective is key for them a lot of the times, and for us, right? It's easy to, think like this is the end all be all, this one game, but it's prepping you for success later on, those failures. So but God, her development's been great. And I mean, she just comes in, she works, and, she'll come in before practice, day after, whatever that takes from that standpoint to just perfect her swing. And she loves playing. Like she's just so much passion and energy when she's out there on the field.
When you were coming in, Jess and I were talking about Reese Hunter, 7 home runs the season before, just one last year. We saw her struggling offensively, but she always had a smile on her face. She always looked like she was all business and kind of handled that adversity pretty well. Mm-hmm. Talk about Reese Hunter and what she brings to the team.
I mean, she's just phenomenal behind the plate. I think it's not necessarily cookie cutter how she receives the ball. And so, it kind of drives me crazy sometimes when we get some commentators on there giving their thoughts, not you guys, giving their thoughts on, how she does or doesn't receive the ball. But, I think that she's, we say it sometimes, she's like a unicorn, the way she receives and the way she catches, but that works for her. And I think, you got to let them be who they are and let them be athletes. And she is a great presence behind the plate. The pitchers trust her. And I mean, you can't, there's no substitute for that, right? Like, the pitchers feel confident throwing the ball in the dirt with her behind the plate. She's going to block it up. We feel like she's going to control the run game, those types of things. And so great teammate, great leader from that standpoint. And just proud of her development. Obviously, maybe not the numbers she wanted offensively last year, but just kept grinding and finding ways. And she had some bright moments, just wasn't the consistency maybe she wanted. And so, sometimes you see that and then they go into their senior year and it's like they kind of free themselves up a little bit because they're not overthinking everything. It's like my senior year, right? And it kind of frees them up to enjoy it a little bit more. And then let's see what happens, right? And when you kind of take that pressure off yourself, a lot of really good things seem to fall into place for you. She's been swinging the heck out of that in preseason and our practices. Right. She's really been doing a really nice job, and it's testament to how she's been approaching her work ethic in the batting cage. And so she's it's been fun to see because a little bit more power there, driving the ball a little bit more to all parts of the field, and you can see her building confidence with that in these practices and in these scrimmages.
Speaking of building confidence, Emma Simon stepped in. Big shoes to fill there at short. Your position, I'm sure there's not any pressure at all, for a head coach who played that position. But she came in, and I thought from immediately she looked just comfortable and an athlete. Although maybe the fundamentals didn't work out early on, but her confidence grew as the season continued, and I thought she did a fantastic job there short.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Emma, I talk about work ethic and I don't know if anybody could outwork her. And I've been here a while. I've worked with a lot of people who come in and want to do extra and this and that. And there's no comparison to how much she comes in. And so 2-3 times a week, if that, I don't even have to text her. She's going to text me. I know it's Sunday and she's texting about when can I get in. Right. And so, I think for her, she needed the innings, the experience at this level, 50-something games at the collegiate level to build basically that bank of what it's like to hit at this level, what it's like the speed of the game at this level. And so every game she was learning and growing and getting better. And it's, just seeing her now in January and thinking back to where she was a year ago, it's leaps and bounds. And part of that is experience, part of that is confidence. But she's been banging the ball around the park too here at practice. And when you see that, you see her just, again, get even more confident on defense. And I think, those are things that maybe hadn't always came as natural to her, but I haven't seen somebody with that work ethic. And people come in for extra and maybe 3 of them. And she's yeah, she'll stay there and make sure she's the last one to take the reps. And she will get the last rep. And the other day she took a rep and she wasn't the last one. I was what's going on today? She's I'm good. I feel great. And I'm this is crazy, right? But we joke about it. I don't think she'll be outworked. And I don't know if that's, I think part of that's obviously how she was raised. Her parents are uber competitive. Her mom, I think, played in Wimbledon. So they're pretty athletic family. And I think, she's got a good baseline. But I'm really proud of the growth, not just as an athlete, but as a person that she's gone through in the last, 12 months. And you can just see her kind of coming into her own and feeling more confident there. And it's been exciting to see because, I don't think that was an easy journey for her. And I think there was a lot with that, right? A lot of ups and downs and, probably self-doubt at points in time, but you're capable of doing this and you've proven you can, and just trust yourself in that. And you're seeing that even more and more now with a year under her belt.
And sometimes
would you say,
yeah, go ahead, Jess.
Would you say that is translating for Emma right now in the box as well? Because I know that was kind of the place where she showed the lack of confidence more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for her, right, she comes in, she works. She doesn't just work on defense. She works on hitting. And I think when you're working through swing changes, and maybe you haven't been as confident or successful at that side of the game in the past, it takes more reps and it takes more time. And right, as humans, we always want it to happen a little faster. Oh, yeah. But even on the back end of the season last year, you could start to see she was starting to kind of build some momentum, have more consistent at bats, have a more consistent approach. And I truly think some of that was just she needed the at bats at this level. And yeah, right, she needed to get to 100+ at bats at this level before some things really started clicking. And I think that as much as it probably was frustrating for her at times last year, it has prepared her even more for this year. And yeah, I think that confidence is really starting to show. And she's banging around there at practice right now in scrimmage settings, which is really fun to see. And then it's just, that builds your confidence every time. Right. And so I definitely would say it's showing up in the box as well.
One of the things I was going to bring up, Coach, is these young players, and we sit here and go, okay, they're not hitting the ball, or maybe they make an error or whatever. And we forget they're athletes and students as well. And so the balance being a Georgia Tech student with being a Division I athlete, I don't think there's much like it in the country to put these kids in such a challenging situations, and the players that are on this roster, you see them rise. And we'll bring up Alyssa Willer, what she did last year. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but she had a phenomenal season. We were talking about her a lot as the season goes. Quickly talk about do you ever have to remember that they're student athletes as well, or is that just kind of built into you because you went to Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I think I probably have a different take on this because
Okay.
I went to tech too, but I think their experience is obviously different than mine. I didn't have all these online courses. I had to go in person. And so I think that in itself brings its own unique challenges.
Mm.
But like for me, like I also think it's like you chose this, right? And so you have to figure out how to balance it. You are a student athlete, absolutely. This is also the time of the year where we gotta be able to balance both. Like we don't have the luxury of only being focused on school and only being focused on softball. You got to figure out how do you balance both. And that means when you're in the classroom, you're locked in on class. When you're at the ball field, you're locked in at, softball. And if you can kind of compartmentalize a little bit, you probably would be a little bit more successful because you can only control where your feet are at that one point in time. And so I think, yes, we have to keep that in context. And you chose to come here because you liked what that stood for. You like the idea of being both a student and an athlete. And so I think we got to embrace that and embrace the hard that comes with that because those are the choices we made, right? Because we didn't want it to be just like anybody else. We wanted to do a little something different.
You had to make an adjustment last year, putting Alyssa Willer in the outfield. She played almost every day. Paige Vukadinovich and Eliana Gottlieb in the outfield. Of course, Ella Edgman graduated. She's no longer with the team. But just talk about Alyssa Willer stepping up and what she did last year in her performance and how her development has gone here in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about Willer, everybody was shocked by her, but we saw what she was doing in practice and in the fall and in preseason. So we're like, okay, like there's something a little special here. Like, can we, how can she manage that? Because again, as a freshman, a lot of times you're inconsistent. You get these ups and downs, and the highs are really high and the lows are you feel like you're the worst hitter in the world when it's not going that way. And that's just part of your freshman year. And so I think for her, it was really more a matter of us of like managing the expectations and knowing that she could have a really special year, right? But not putting too much on her either, right? Because I think expectation can be a tough thing when you're a freshman, and so just like get up there, put your best swing on the ball, go full speed, and that was a lot of what we talked about with our last year. Is like let's just try to simplify as much as possible. Now this year, right, the scout's going to be out on her, and so she is going to have to account for different things, similar to like a tuck, and so managing that, managing what parts of her swing do we need to work through, and that's been a real big focal point. But man, she goes hard all the time, and really like I just love to coach her. She's one of those athletes that if she was having a bad day, you probably wouldn't know it on the field. You might know when she gets off it, but like she shows up and she takes care of business and just loves being there and competing.
So in the center field, you got Paige Vukadinovich, who we've
Mm-hmm.
watched her career grow up. She was a slapper when she first came in. I think you talked last year about keeping her feet down and becoming a different
Mm-hmm.
kind of hitter. And she had a great season last year. I mean, she's was kind of an anchor point for this team last year. Coming back, how was Paige? How did you think Paige did last year in her off-season development? What can we expect from her in 2026?
Yeah. I think Paige has done a phenomenal job. She still has her slap. She still has her short game. She can bump for a hit. But really, last year, really worked through swinging away because that was important to just opening that part of her game. Now, we still are touching on all three skills just because, again, it's hard to defend, right? Who wants to? I got to pick my poison, right? Every time she comes to bat, the infield's like, all right, are we playing our slapper? Are we playing our, hitter? Do we have to worry about short game? And so, really, the progress, for her, the development last year was huge, but it's because she was committed to actually staying in there and working through her swing. And so now this year it's fun because you can work on all three things, right? We have the slap still there. Maybe the swing isn't, maybe if we're not as confident with the swing, we know we have the short game, the tap and go, the bunt, if we need to move runners and whatnot. And so again, like she had a full year really of experience last year, and that, I think a consistent full year of experience under her belt. And so really excited just to see her develop and just see her kind of lead that outfield and center field this year because it's been fun to see and yeah, it's again I'm just really excited for them and seeing like another year of them out there because Paige first 2 years a little bit up and down and just last year just really consistent, and so excited.
And then Eliana Gottlieb in right field. I don't think that was her traditional position. She got put out there. She did a good job. What can we expect from her in 2026?
Well, Ellie's graduated, so
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I was looking forward to
She was a
seeing her.
grad
Oh, well.
She was a grad transfer, so we had her for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. No, she actually, funny story. Yeah, she's still working in Atlanta. She got a job in Atlanta. So,
Wonderful.
the GT degree just parlayed her into a really nice, sweet gig here in Metro Atlanta,
Sweet.
doing something computer science. I don't know, but great stuff. Probably making a lot more money than all three of us. So
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
no doubt.
Well, you have a couple places that are going to be filled in. So right field and second base areas that are going to look a little different than for Georgia Tech. Well, tell us about that.
Yeah. So we got transfer Reagan Wall from James Madison as well. She's predominantly mixed in right field this year, and so in the fall and obviously in preseason. I mean, that's elite speed. She's triple threat, more tap and goes, bunt, chop slap, little power slap. That's kind of more her skill set as we're working and developing out the swing in her progression. But I mean, that kid can fly. She's not a kid. She can fly. Reagan can just, I mean, it's been great for our defense. It's been a nightmare at times for our defense, but it's only making us better because her speed and her short game is elite. And so great arm over there. I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see them together, that group, like that kind of core, those three. They cover a ton of ground. We're running down balls that we haven't, and just again, Willer and Paige together another year, right? And then adding in Reagan can fly out there. Then we have Abby McInnes, who's a freshman, who's been, repping and mixing in. Obviously, she's a great athlete as well. Just obviously a freshman, so less collegiate experience out there, but kind of to add some depth in those spots. We got transfer Holly Medina, who from Cal, who is a junior. She plays outfield and second base, and we've actually used her more at second base. So again, she does have depth to create some more depth in the outfield, but we look to see her more on the dirt. She's a great, well-rounded athlete, also kind of triple threat, swings, bunts, can slap as well. And so that was one of the things for us as well, kind of when we looked in the portal, is more speed, just more athleticism. Can we find more ways to manufacture runs outside of just, extra base hits? Obviously, those are great. We want those. But, we also want to create some more havoc on the bases. And so Holly's a great addition to that. Just competitive as heck. Every time she shows up the field, she wants to win. And so we love that about her. And, coming from Cal, she obviously is no stranger to academics. And so I think that transition for her maybe a little easier than some people in the past who've transitioned from other schools, just from a standpoint of like understanding the balance and also playing already a Power 4 schedule at this level, right? And so been really excited about her. And then Madison Duffels also, who comes from East Coweta, another kind of triple threat. So another lefty. Again, we needed some more bats on the left side, just really creating some more of a dynamic offense, more ways to manufacture runs. Duff's worked at second and short this in both times. And so I'm just really excited about the depth we have there on the dirt because we have a ton of options. And so, you're going to compete every day you come at practice, and there are people who very easily can beat you out every single day. And I think that's been a great thing for our program and just for the culture, because we maybe haven't always had that much depth. We have bodies, but we maybe haven't had that much depth. And so I think that just makes them better collectively every day.
You have had a chance to see some of these players in fall ball, and I think you said Maddie Duffel and Gracie King really stood out for you. Just talk about fall ball and what you looked for going into it and what you're bringing out of it.
Yeah, I think, we talked about it a lot of time, a lot of different times, we can't just show up for one game and not the other, right? You gotta show up to beat yourself every day, or be the best version of yourself every day, be better than yesterday's team. And so I think fall was a good growing experience for them. And, we finished our fall with a win against Auburn and, some really very competitive games against Tennessee, where, we were tied through 7 in the first game of that day. And so I think for us, they needed to see that, to see, okay, well, this is, we can be really good, right? I think sometimes you got to see it to believe it. As much as I hate that, that's just part of it. And so they saw some of that success against, you're talking about Carlin Pickens and, for 7-8 innings in a doubleheader. that only makes us better, right? And then our pitchers facing the Auburn offense and the Tennessee offense only makes us better. That only makes our defense better. And so I think having some success, seeing success, beating, an Auburn, playing them in a fall game, it's a fall game, but that builds confidence all across and like what we are capable of doing, and playing Tennessee great, just again continues to build confidence. And so I think the big piece for them was like, hey, like, right, like freshmen, like, you've watched some of these teams on TV, like, and so are they going to be like, oh wow, or are they just going to show up and treat it like, hey, I'm here to compete? And those are the two things that I saw with Madison Duffel and Gracie King. Like, the moment didn't look too big for them. They looked like they got in the box and it was business as usual. And you love to see that because, there's something to be said for if I've seen Carlin Pickens on TV for how many years, like, right. And this says Tennessee across the jersey. Are they going to be scared of that moment? And that's why you play some of those teams in the fall. So if they are, they can work through that. But like those two, they just went up there and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go swing. I'm gonna get my swings off and I'm gonna play. I don't care who you are. And I love that about them. And that was great again for our team and our culture. And Gracie King back there behind the plate has been a great addition, and just Reese has done a great job of mentoring her, and Peyton Miller as well. But specifically Gracie, like their cohesion is good. Like Reese has helped make her better. Like she helps coach her as well and point out things. But Gracie can swing it too, right? And so that's been a good, healthy competition. And I think it's been great for Reese as well. Just them competing back there and both just making each other better.
Well, Coach, you are so gracious with your time. I know it's a busy time, and maybe the ice storm gave a little bit of a chance to stop for a second, but I know it never goes. Real quick, the final question I have, and Jess, if you want to jump in here, the ACC took 9 teams to the tournament last year. They broke a record. This conference is getting better and better and better. Just real quick, your thoughts on the conference schedule, on the conference being Georgia Tech in the ACC, trying to get back to the NCAA tournament with in the ACC, so challenging. Just quick, your thoughts on the ACC overall in softball.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was correct me if I'm wrong, it was the 2 RPI, second strongest RPI conference behind the SEC last year. So, I mean, it speaks for itself. Like, I mean, the arms there are phenomenal. And so, right, like, we're going to play Clemson. We're going to play Florida State. Like, we're going to play those teams in 3-game series. We got VT. Like, we're our schedule is loaded, and then our non-conference schedule is loaded. But the ACC, I mean, it is preparing us for postseason play, and I love that because I think that's the only way you get better. And so week in and week out, anybody can beat anybody. The coaches are phenomenal. And every coach that's joined this conference has just raised each program and elevated the programs. And I think that's huge, because when there's not a lot of separation between the top and the bottom, that's what you want, right? Because it's anybody's chance, and who can play the best over the course of 8, the 10-week schedule, right? And for me, it's a blessing to get to work in this conference, and very grateful. It's something I'm proud of, obviously, because I was a student athlete in it. But it's insane to just see the development and how much growth has happened for our sport, and just in the ACC with softball and what they're putting into it.
Well, we are so excited. Just a few weeks away from, by the way, forecast is snow for that week. February 5th is what I saw. So maybe we'll get some, maybe we won't. You never know. Farmer's Almanac's wrong all the time. But thank you so much for taking time, Coach. We're really looking forward to getting out there and watching this team in 2026. And you've always been gracious with us. So thank you again for your time.
Appreciate it, Nathan. Hey, what's up with that? I thought this was going to be the worst of the weather, so I'm just I'm not looking at February 5th yet.
I don't have my meteorology degree. I'm just throwing things out there. I have my Apple phone up, just like everybody else, looking at the temperatures minute by minute. Yeah. And they had a 10-day forecast, and I think it said snow that week. So we'll see how it goes.
No, I think it's supposed to be fine by the 3rd.
Let's go. Your lips to God's ears. Yes. I'm telling you, we got to have some nice weather for softball, Coach. Thank you.
It's no fun when you're hosting the tournament and you have bad schedule, because then you have to rework everything, and you're like, I just want to worry about my games. I don't want to rework the schedule too.
Well, always seems
it's all good.
I was telling Jess, it always seems we get a warm couple games and then you get smacked in the face by a 20-degree day and you're out there freezing cold.
Yeah.
We're in a booth which is heated. So
yeah, y'all are great. Y'all got the best.
We're fine.
We had we were like practicing on January 5th, and it was like felt like the real feel was like 60, and I was like, this is gonna get us, because I'm like, when is it coming? I'm like, this is not good. It was great, but also I was like,
good.
when is the cold coming? So
it was good and not good. Well, Coach, you're a joy. Thank you so much. Best of luck in 2026, and we'll see you out at the MU.
Appreciate y'all. Looking forward to seeing you guys as well.
All right, that is Coach Aileen Morales. Yeah, 2026 right around the corner. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. All right, Jess, we got players that are joining us here. I'm going to have to get in here and see who's here. And it looks like so far, let me see. I got Paige Vukadinovich, Addison Leschber, Alyssa Willer, and let's see, do we have Makayla Coffield as well? Somewhere maybe. Yeah, there she is. All right, let's see if we can pull her in to the mix here and talk to some of these players about this 2026 season, because it is right around the corner. Go, hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Hi.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time. And we were just talking to Coach Morales about this 2026 season. We're going back to the 2025 season, just kind of to review. You made the NCAA tournament, and Makayla will talk to you just for real quick to start us off. 2025, you make the regional tournament. You have to turn your focus real quick to 2026. What has your offseason been like, and what are some areas you feel like you want to improve on personally before the season gets here, and what can you looking forward to here as the season gets underway?
Yeah, so going into 2026, one goal for myself was just not make the moments bigger than they were. As a relief pitcher last season, I appeared in a lot of games with a lot of big moments, and I felt like I did well of handling that pressure, but I just wanted to strive to get better, because this team, the energy here is something different, and I'm just really excited to see where we go. And I just know that for me personally, I'm going to have to make sure that I don't make any moment bigger than it is.
And Paige, we've watched you grow up here at Georgia Tech, and Coach Morales said last year you just really owned the field offensively and defensively. How about you? Ending last year, you turned your focus to 2026. How's your offseason been, and what are you looking forward to here as the season gets underway?
Yeah, I think one thing for me is my confidence has really grown, and that's thanks to Coach Morales and the staff. But looking back to like my freshman year and just like now, that's like two different leagues I'm in. And, my parents even said, they're like, you just look so much more confident, like up to bat, like you have like a presence about you. And I'm like, yeah, that's something like me and Coach Morales talked a lot about, just like building up that confidence, believing in myself. And then, of course I believe in the girl next to me, the girl batting behind me. So, yeah.
And Addison, you were brought in here last year. Talk about being a part of this team and having to come in and gel with a new team and then making it happen, and a little bit about your offseason as well.
Well, yeah, these girls beside me on the screen, like they make it so easy, like coming in, they were so welcoming and just wanted me to be a part of everything that Georgia Tech softball stands for. So it was really easy to come in with them because they're just amazing people. And yeah, I think this off season's been a grind. I see a lot of determination within the team and also within myself. And I'm just so excited to get started because we have something to prove this year.
No doubt. And Alyssa, it's your turn. You stepped in last year. We honestly, a lot of the spotlight was on Emma Simon coming in for Jen Soleo. And all of a sudden, Alyssa Willer's name keeps coming up. You just had a fantastic season. Talk about your view of 2025, your off-season preparation, and what are you looking forward to in 2026?
2025 was a great year for everybody on the program. I think that just having the leadership and like Addie and the upperclassmen to look up to and learn from, and that communication and that close relationship I had with my teammates definitely helped. During the off season, we as a team worked on embracing the hard and working on communication. And I think in 2026, that's what I'm going to carry over, is just embracing the hard and honing in on my skills and not trying to force anything or change anything, just believing in myself and knowing that my teammates have my back.
Makayla, I'll go back to you. This obviously Soph and Kins are gone. You kind of are, you and Sydney Watts are there in the bullpen. You're going to have a different role this year because of all the new faces. Do you feel any weight or different responsibilities being somebody who's been around the program and been around the culture to kind of show them what Georgia Tech softball is all about?
Honestly, I don't think it's been anything of a pressure. It's been kind of a privilege to show these pitchers, these younger pitchers, these transfer pitchers, what we have to here at Georgia Tech. Between like new faces, the transfers, Madeline Johnson and Kenley Hillary, like they've just been a great piece to add to the bullpen. Their personalities and their drive and their willingness to get better every day has been just such a great thing to be around. And then all of our freshman pitchers have stepped in and embraced the hard and been really resilient throughout the whole fall. So I feel like it's been such a relaxing breeze of breath because I honestly was a little nervous coming in, being the oldest returning pitcher, but I mean, they just made it so easy and made it so like awesome to be a part of it every single day.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had confidence in you, by the way. We had confidence in you.
Yes, we did. Paige, I'm going to ask you a question. Last year, we saw you put your foot down and swing away a lot more. Can we expect to see that this season as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a big switch for me because even in travel ball, like I was always slapping, but I think just adding another tool into, my back pocket has been really great for me and for the program, and just stepping in any way I can, whether it's getting a bunt down, hitting away, slapping, any way I can help either for my team.
Having 3 tools is awesome. That makes it very difficult for people to defend against. So that's awesome. Addison, I wanted to ask a question about being a transfer yourself, and there's a handful of transfers this season. How are you seeing those transfers kind of mesh with the team and like assimilate? Is it an easy process, would you say, or how's it going?
Yeah, I think that they all came in excited and looking for a new experience, new opportunity, and that's exactly what they're finding here that I know of. They are really wanting to bring up the culture and just continue to build the culture, which is something that each and every one of us that are returning are wanting to do. So that's super exciting as well. And they also are coming in and want to win, which is something all of us returners want to do. So yes, it's been going really well.
Awesome. Alyssa, if you had to explain to somebody what it was like to be a athlete at Georgia Tech specifically, like how would you explain that experience so far? I know you've only got 1 year under your belt, but how would you explain it?
I would explain it definitely like you feel very secure. There's so many resources here, and on the softball team, just having the amazing coaching staff that we have and all my teammates, and then they even provide us like a nutritionist, and our weight training program is amazing. I would definitely like to say it's been a great experience. And academically, I know I'm going to come out here with a great degree and know what to do in the real world. And I think that's like a big part of like why you have a dream to play college softball, is because the degree that you've been working hard for and everything. So I definitely would say like very secure, like amazing place. I love it here and amazing resources.
Awesome. Speaking of an awesome degree, Makayla, a biomedical engineer major over there. How's that going for you as an athlete?
Oh, it certainly is going. I mean, the coaches are so great about it, though. They're really understanding. Like for me, especially, my schoolwork is a little bit longer and lengthier, and my classes are longer, but they make everything work for me and are so open about it. And then all of the biomedical engineering department here at Tech is super open to helping me out and making sure that I am in the places that I need to be to succeed here on and off the field.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
All right, so we only have a few minutes with you guys because obviously schedules are tight. But Paige, I want to just real quick ask your thoughts on 2026. You've seen the team in the fall. You're replacing some pieces. What is your expectation here in 2026? You got a really tough schedule to start with. Villanova, who's picked top 4 in the Big South, not Big South. What are they? Big East, rather. Alabama, and then ECU. Kind of talk about your expectation as the season gets underway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I think this team is special. We have a lot of personality. I think that's one word to describe our team this year. We have personality. And we're also just very scrappy. We're going to be scrappy this year. Everyone has a certain piece of the puzzle. that when put together perfectly, it'll be great, and it's going to be exciting to see. And I think, like I said, everyone has their role. We're all locked in, we're going to embrace our role. Everyone has their role. And I think we're all really bought into the mindset of we want to win a regional. So
nice. Makayla, you guys obviously went 0-2 in the NCAA tournament last year. Obviously, you want to improve upon that. Can you set goals this early in the preseason for something like that, or is it just kind of week by week, series by series?
Oh, I 100% think you can set those goals now, because that just makes every game and every practice and every rep that much more meaningful if you have a bigger goal in mind. That's what we've been focusing on this year. The coaches, the team, we're really bought into looking at that bigger goal at the end of the season. So that makes each week and each practice and each rep that we have that much more special for us.
And Alyssa, you guys have a new piece in right field. You and Paige obviously were fantastic last year. What's it been like welcoming a new outfielder, and what are your kind of expectations as you get the season underway?
It's awesome having another outfielder that can cover a lot of range. We have strong arms in the outfield, which is awesome to have. And just like as an outfielder, our job is to eliminate as many bases as possible, trying to just keep the runners down to the least amount of bases. And I think that with our outfield, we're definitely capable of doing it. We have a big range, and it's awesome, all the amazing plays that we can make. And getting the season going, it's exciting. I think we're all excited, and that there's a lot of goals we have for like our personal goals and team goals, and I think that everybody's very determined to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
That was a nice segue. Addison, I was going to ask you about your personal goals here, second season with Georgia Tech. Obviously, the players have said you got to get their high expectations for this team. Personally, for you, what are some personal goals you have, and what are you looking forward most to as the first series comes just a couple weeks away?
Oh gosh, I mean, coming off last year, I got the honor of being named All-Region. So I guess that next step for myself is being named All-American, and I mean, that doesn't happen without my team. So once again, that goal to win a regional is very prominent right now, and that's the one I'm really focused on personally. So then whenever I can reach that personal goal, it's achievable because of my teammates. And yeah.
Well, you guys are a joy. Jess and I get a chance to call some games for ACC Network, and I can promise you, every time you guys do something really fantastic on the field, we want to make it sound so you can have your clip on Instagram and everything. We get a kick out of that. But we really just enjoy the heck out of watching you guys play. All you guys are fantastic. We love Coach Morales, what she brings. Georgia Tech is a special place, and we're really excited for the season to get underway. Thank you guys so much for taking time. I hope you're safe. I hope there's no ice on your cars or anything outside. I think we kind of dodged a bullet there. But Jess, do you have anything final before we wrap up here?
I mean, as an alumni, I just want to see you guys succeed. I think you guys have done a phenomenal job of representing the program. So keep doing, you guys. Keep on the same path. I like Nathan said, I just have a great time seeing you guys play every weekend when I'm down there. So proud of you. Keep it up. I know it's not the easiest place to be an athlete, so I feel it, but you guys are making it look easy. So, good luck this season.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, good luck. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope to have another episode later in the season. We can talk about how great you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. That is Makayla Coffield, Alyssa Willer, Addison Leschber, and Paige Vukadinovich for Georgia Tech. What great athletes. What great people surrounding this program, Jess. And you've been around the program a long time, and not that long, but you've been around. You kind of know the expectation. And, Coach Morales she brings an intensity level that is real tangible, even when she's talking about this team. Just your thoughts about the interview and some of the players that we talked to.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Morales has always been somebody who's very intense. She's very passionate about softball, and she has high standards of herself and her players. And it shows, like you said, in interviews, it shows how she coaches on the field, in game and practice. It's just it's always there, right? It's not going to go away. And that's kind of what she expects her players to meet as well. So she's somebody who is going to be able to continue to push this. And like she said, set up those systems to put them in place to hopefully find the success that her and these 4 athletes that we were able to speak to today are looking forward to.
Yeah. And we talked about some of the unknowns. She's answered that. They brought in some transfers, and I think they're really looking forward to this Reagan Wall in right field. Just watching her from last year, she is a burner, an area that Georgia Tech has been missing on the base paths, especially in stolen base attempts. What do you think she can bring offensively to this team in a threat on the base paths?
Yeah. I mean, when we look at the points of improvement from last year offensively, base stealing is one of them, right? The Jackets really could benefit from adding more stolen bases this season and having that transfer, Reagan being able to come in. And I mean, with the speed that Coach Morales is saying she has, looks like she'll be able to make an impact immediately. That's game changing when you can put a girl in scoring position without having to rely on a bat to do so. And then you also have some of the other girls that she mentioned, like Madison Duffel, who's a freshman coming in, and the transfer from Cal has speed as well. So you've got, just a couple of additions that aren't that are able to fill that position or that spot that we're talking about in terms of needing more speed on the bases. So I think that could be a huge key to the offensive side of the ball for the Jackets this year.
One thing I found a little bit difficult to look at is like a slugging percentage, where in 2024 they had so many home runs, really, I mean, and doubles and triples and everything, but they didn't. I mean, they weren't terrible last year. They slugged as a whole 438, which was 11th in the ACC. You want to pick that up, and I think that was a lack of home run production. Is that an area you feel like this team needs to improve on as far as the long ball?
I think that, like Coach Morales said, with a lot of the girls that were younger last year, having a whole 50-game season under their belt, it's going to come with just that experience, that even if you're not adding power hitters to the lineup, you're going to add some home runs just from experience from the girls that are just returning. But I think she did mention the idea of just having to add different facets to the offensive game. Sure. And I think she mentioned a lot that small ball and being able to add speed. That might be what we see this season from the Jackets in terms of trying to pick up run production. It might look different than home runs because there wasn't a lot of talk about adding power hitters to the lineup. The Jackets are returning some power hitters, but it's not the additional players. The girls come in and the transfers aren't going to be adding power. They're going to be adding speed. So it might look different offensively, but however you can score runs is positive, right? So they're trying to find a way to make up for, like you said, that 2024 run production that they didn't see last year.
The final area I want to talk about before we get out of here is the pitcher. Sydney Watts is the most experienced returning pitcher, as Makayla Coffield was that kind of utility pitcher, came in relief, did start a couple of games, but Watts had 42 innings pitched underneath her belt. Gone is Sophia Voiles. Kenzie Norton is gone. This is a huge question mark. They did bring in the pitcher from JMU, Madeline Johnson. Lots of great things about her, but I think that's an area we're going to watch pretty quickly of how deep and how effective this pitching staff is early on.
Yeah, Johnson from JMU, I got to see her pitch against Tennessee in the fall, and her changeup is devastating. If it can work through the ACC, and this being the first time that they will see her, the ACC teams will see her, will be very beneficial for the Jackets. I think that she's someone to look out for. Morales also mentioned Hillary coming in from Kennesaw State. She's been pitching, she's a senior, so she's been pitching at a collegiate level for 3 years at a Kennesaw State, which is not an ACC or an SEC school or a school that's gone very far in playoffs, but she did pitch well against Georgia Tech last year when they faced in a midweek game. So I think those two arms are going to be something to look out for. And for the Jackets, hopefully they're able to bring that experience and really be those, fill in that blank for Voiles and Norton, like we said, missing those over 200 innings with the two of them.
Well, it is right around the corner, Jess. It's a time
It
of
is.
the season we look forward to every year. You and I will be there for February 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. That weekend
Yes.
series against Villanova, Alabama, and ECU. So please tune in, get your ACC Network subscriptions and all that good stuff because it's going to be a fun one. Jess, thank you so much for taking the time. We love talking Georgia Tech softball. Coach Morales, thank you so much for the players, and Kendra, also the SID setting this up. We really do appreciate it. So for Jess Sinclair, I'm Nathan McCreary. This has been the Rec Podcast, and we'll see you at Muirborn Field February 5th. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.